Hi guys, today from Dubai. Today I have with me a very special guest. This is Jose Cordeiro from Spain, born in Venezuela, a very interesting personality, a very interesting biography. This guy is one of the, I would say, most audacious futurists in the world, in Europe for sure. Jose, tell us about yourself, about your projects, what you're doing now, and then we'll go to the topic of immortality, because this is the topic that we'll be talking about today. Jose, tell us about yourself. What's your life plan, or what's your activity right now?
Fantastic. Well, my name is Jose. I was born in Venezuela and studied in the USA at MIT, at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. I am an engineer, and then I have been interested in all technologies of the future. I worked for the first 5 years at Singularity University in Silicon Valley in California, talking about many future trends related to technology, mostly on energy, but also now I'm focusing in Spain about biotechnology and the new incredible things we are going to see with the medicine of the future, which is really becoming a science, because medicine in the past was like an art, and now it is becoming truly, completely scientific thanks to the advances in biotechnology. So that's my focus now, because there have been so many advances, and there will be even more advances because of this exponential change, that we are going to be curing all diseases in the next few years. All diseases, including the mother of all diseases, which is aging. Aging is the worst disease and the mother of all diseases. If we stop aging, we will basically stop all other diseases.
Right, because most diseases, they come up with age, right? So if you are able somehow to keep the people at the age of 20, around the age of 20, all the time throughout their lives, then you just eliminate all other diseases, or almost all other diseases.
Absolutely. The idea is to have a biological age between 20, 25, or 30. This is already being experimented with animals. So, I mean, this is not science fiction. This is science reality. It's just beginning, because we have found several genes that control aging. And you can reverse the effect of those genes and make the cells, the organs, and eventually complete organisms, complete animals younger. And therefore, an age of about 20, 25, 30 is the biologically optimum age, because your body is strong enough that it can stop most diseases, like cancer. We get cancer continuously since we are born, but our organism is strong enough to stop cancer when we are 20, 30. Then our health begins declining, our immunological system weakens, accelerated, and then we cannot control anything. So when you are 80, when you are 90 years of age, it is like if you already have AIDS. So the organism is very weak, the immune system is not working, and any disease will kill you. So the objective is to have an immunological system young and the whole body young, so that you can live longer, healthy, in a fantastic new future.
Absolutely. You were one of the guys who started Singularity University. Were you from the very beginning with Peter Diamandis and Ray Kurzweil?
Yes. Singularity University was announced in 2008. At that time, I was working in Tokyo, Japan. And when I saw this, and with Ray Kurzweil and Peter Diamandis, both of whom are also MIT graduates, older than me, and then I contacted them and the other organizers, and I said, I want to be involved in this. And I became one of the founding faculty in 2009. And I was there for the first summer programs, because it began as a summer school in a way. And then it grew to have executive development courses and many other activities as well. But yes, the beginning was truly fantastic. The first class in the summer of 2009 had only 40 students. It was a trial, an experiment, and it was successful. Also, it was 9 weeks. Then the second year, 2010, we had 10 weeks, one more week, and then we had actually 80 students. And the objective was to keep on growing, but then we thought that having a small group of students, like about 80, maximum 100 at sometimes, is the best for people interactions, for having team relations, to create a different working together environment.
Okay, so but Singularity University is about many exponential technologies, so to say. Why did you then decided to focus on longevity and immortality? Why do you think this is the most important technology of our time?
Well, I actually began in the energy field. And in my previous life, I was a petroleum engineer. I was looking for petroleum, natural gas, and other fossil fuels. But then the revolution of the renewables came, so it was interesting to learn about solar energy, wind energy, geothermal energy. California has many of these. And so I moved into renewables because this was also growing exponentially, but I learned about biotech, which is not my main area. So I thought this was fascinating, and so many things were happening already by the end of last decade with experiments on mice, mostly on mice, because we share 90% of the genome with mice. So we are relatively close biologically, and if we can do experiments on mice that also have short lives, because mice and rats, they live between 2 and 3 years. And we have been able now, thanks to biotechnology, to extend their life up to 5 years. That is like having a human living to 200 years. So there is so much being discovered with animals. And then I said, well, it is the time to begin taking these ideas into humans. And just to make a comparison, for mice, we have mice that live almost 200 human years now. We have mosquitoes who live about 400 human years equivalent, and we have worms that live 1,000 years of age equivalent compared to humans. And this is incredible. So we are discovering many things with different species. It is important, obviously, mammals, because we are mammals, so we don't want to be like worms or like mosquitoes. So mice are a very good species to do experiments. Now there are also other experiments with dogs and with monkeys. Monkeys are very close to us biologically, like chimpanzees are 99% equal to humans, 99% biologically in terms of the genome. In any event, so this is moving very fast, so fast that there are huge multi-billion-dollar investments. The most famous now recently was in 2021 when Jeff Bezos and some other billionaires from the west coast of the USA decided to create Altos Labs. And Altos Labs, because it is in Los Altos, California, is going to be researching on rejuvenation technologies, which is the important thing. Rejuvenation. The idea is not to live 500 years, like if you are actually 500 years old, biologically, crippled in a wheelchair. No, that's not the objective. The objective is to be biologically young. And these technologies are being developed, incredible advances, and we can talk about some of those, and also the discoveries about cancer, because cancer really is a fantastic disease, because cancer cells are mutant cells that stop aging.
Yeah, this is, let me disrupt you a little bit here, because most people at that stage where we are talking would think, what the guys are talking about, immortality, I mean, how crazy is that? Is it possible at all? And how do you know immortality is possible? And I think cancer is the key somehow.
Yes, cancer is one of the major keys, because cancer cells are mutant cells that stop aging. Multicellular organisms like you and I, and all the way from mice and rats, even worms, they have different cells. So there are two types of cells, the reproductive cells, which are called germ cells, and they do not age biologically. They could live indefinitely. The problem is that we are not just reproductive cells, we are somatic cells related to the soma, body. And the somatic cells do age. So by studying the germ cells, why they don't age, and cancer cells also, because cancer cells are mutant cells that were aging, and they decided not to die, to put it that way, and then they discover how to stop aging. So we have now discovered that process, what cancer has done, and it really is incredible. One of the major lines of research now is to replicate what cancer does, but in a good way, so that you can live indefinitely younger with all your body cells in a good shape. But additionally, there are small organisms who are also biologically immortal. Some people might have heard about the immortal jellyfish or hydras and medusas, and these organisms also could live forever, biologically immortal. This is how they are called in biology, biologically immortal. So they could live.
Are there any examples of really living organisms like that are, I don't know, 500 years old, 1,000 years old?
Yes.
Or can you somehow judge the age? How do you know how old they are?
Yeah, actually, this is a good point. For small organisms, even though we know they don't biologically age, it is difficult to know when they were born, to put it that way. But for some other organisms closer to us, like whales can live over 200 years. And this has been measured by some harpoons that they still have from the 18th century, 19th century. Also, you can see, trees. Trees are actually interesting, and you can see how old they are because they keep on growing. And then you can, if you cut the tree, that you shouldn't because then it dies, you can see how many different layers it has grown, and you can compute the age of the tree. And there are trees which are 5,000, 10,000 years old. But we are not trees, we are more like a well, and there are wells that live over 200 years. Also, turtles. There are turtles, like in some special places, like in the Galapagos Islands, that are over 200 years old. There are turtles that are alive from the time of Charles Darwin in the Galapagos Islands, alive today. There are also clams. Clams you can also measure because there are different growing layers. So there are clams that we know have lived over 500 years. So many different types of species live longer, and they rejuvenate. Another interesting example are lobsters. Lobsters and some other animals, fish, they keep on growing and growing and growing, and they do not age. They die because someone eats them when they are too big, or if they are changing their cover, like a lobster. When a lobster changes its cover, it is very easy to be attacked by other organisms, so it can die. But lobsters also do not biologically age, and they can reproduce at age 100, 150 without any problem, which is also something we need to learn how they do it. There are also fascinating organisms like planaria. Planaria are small flat worms that you can cut up to 100 pieces, and each little piece of the planaria worm will regrow a whole planaria. So we know they have incredible regeneration capabilities, and also some salamanders that people know. You can cut a tail, a leg, and they regrow the tail and the leg. We humans and mammalians also have those regenerative capabilities when we are a fetus. If you cut a foot of a little fetus, it will regrow it. But after we are born, we do not have those capabilities anymore. So anyway, but we are discovering how this is possible in some species and how it was possible in humans at the original state, so that we can replicate and have those regenerative capabilities even when we are 100, 200 years old in the future.
Coming back to cancer, you yesterday we were talking that you brought this amazing, astounding example of this person who died of cancer in 1951. Tell us about that.
Yes, this is
how we know that cancer that doesn't age, right?
Yeah, this is a truly fascinating story. There was one woman called Henrietta Lacks who was born in 1920 in the USA, and then at age 35 she had a huge cancer, a cervical cancer. And so the doctors took the cancer like an apple, a big, huge, sad cancer. The problem is, as people who have cancer know, if you leave a few cells in the body, if you don't take all the cancer cells, it grows again. It keeps on reproducing, it grows, and it doesn't age. That is the problem with cancer. Cancer keeps on growing, and it is eating the person. The person is the food of the cancer. In any event, this cancer from Henrietta Lacks was studied, and the scientists in Petri dish, in cultivation, farming these cancer cells, they realized that they kept on growing, also outside the woman. And those cells are alive today, even though the woman died in 1951, which is over 7 decades ago. Those cancer cells are alive. And because she was born in 1920, that means that some of her cells from 1920, which is over 100 years ago, are alive. And not only are they alive, they are highly reproductive, and they are like teenager cells. Very active teenager cells. So we know that cancer cells stop aging and are biologically immortal. And I repeat, there are these famous cells that today they are called HeLa in her honor, from Henrietta Lacks, HeLa cells, and over 100 years of age, totally brand new teenagers having sex and reproducing and growing.
Okay, that sounds incredible. You were telling about. So what would be, what do you think, what's the time perspective to the immortality, or to, what is the difference between, let's say, longevity and immortality, and what do you think, when can we achieve that as a humanity?
Well, the idea is healthy lifespan. We don't want to be indefinitely old, we want to be indefinitely young for as long as you want. Immortality can never be guaranteed, because there might be a comet that crashes against Earth,
or
like
an accident, a car accident, whatever.
Or there are also, sadly, homicides and suicides. So we might not live forever, but we might live for as long as we can, or we should, at young age, which is the important thing. So we talk about radical lifespans, not truly immortality. Also because immortality is a word that has been hijacked by religions. Religions are the ones that talk about immortality, afterlife, and all of that. In terms of the timelines, with my friend Ray Kurzweil, he has been predicting technologies for over 3 decades. And he's about 80% wrong on the timing. And actually when he's wrong, 80% right. And when he's wrong, actually he's wrong because it has happened earlier than expected, earlier. Like he predicted that a computer would beat a human for chess by the year 1999. And it actually happened in 1997. It happened 2 years earlier. And the same with other things happening now that are moving so fast because the changes are exponential. So anyway, according to the founder of Singularity University, Ray Kurzweil, and his other friend, Peter Diamandis, they use the date 2045 to have rejuvenation technologies available basically for everybody and probably for free. Because this
2025 or
no, 45.
Yeah.
But there will be another date before, which is also very important, which is 2029, 2030, we will reach longevity escape velocity.
Okay, let's come back to rejuvenation technologies. Rejuvenation technologies, they are not just keeping your age, it's like reversing your age.
Reversing age, yes. And let me give some background, because this was impossible 20 years ago. But the Nobel Prize in Medicine 10 years ago was for a scientist, a Japanese scientist, who discovered that there are genes that control aging. And you can accelerate aging, you can stop aging, or better, you can reverse aging. So Dr. Shinya Yamanaka at the Kyoto University in 2005 and 2006, with other scientists in Kyoto, they discovered these 4 genes. Now we are discovering more and different genes in different species, but we know there are genes that control aging. And he got the Nobel Prize in 2012 for what is called today cell rejuvenation or cell reprogramming. We can reprogram the cells. Scientists taking these ideas have been doing experiments now in organs, because he did this at the cell level. He used cells from the skin of mice, and he took old cells and made them young. Now, other scientists, including him, of course, in Japan and in the USA and other countries, they are working on organ rejuvenation. And a very famous biologist at Harvard University, David Sinclair, he was able to rejuvenate the eyes of mice. He took mice that were about 80 human years equivalent, which is like 2 years for a mouse, and that were blind. And through this gene therapy...
Blind because of the age, right? It's,
yes, yeah, mice...
The old age, so to say. Right?
Yeah, live very short lives, and 2 years is close to 80 human years, and they were blind. And so through this cell rejuvenation treatment, they were given their sight back. So we know we can rejuvenate different organs. And so scientists are working on rejuvenating different types of organs because it was so simple and the eyes are relatively small, contained, and easy to treat also from the outside that Shinya Yamanaka is doing now human trials. He is trying to give vision back to humans in old age, people who are with a macular degeneration, for example, which is a very common way of becoming blind when you are old. So I think in this year, next year, we will give sight back to older people in Japan. Humans, not anymore mice, humans. So other organs are being experimented on now with mice and dogs. So we will probably be able to rejuvenate kidneys, lungs, hearts, livers in the next 5 to 10 years. But the objective is to rejuvenate the whole organism and to see if it is possible, just one gene therapy that will rejuvenate the whole body at the same time. So it is a matter of time until we discover this, and I think it is possible because we know there are immortal cells, we know there are immortal organisms, and we know even better how to reverse aging. So this is not science fiction, this is real science. And it is a matter of time because nature does it. And the example, cancer. If cancer discovered how to become immortal, and cancer didn't go to university, and cancer didn't spend $1 or €1. So this is to show how cheap it will be, because cancer didn't put any money to become immortal, you know? So I think these treatments will be, once we understand what cancer does and other longevity techniques, we will do this very cheaply for everybody. And the target date, going back to the dates, 2029 to 2030, we will reach longevity escape velocity, which is sometimes called the Methuselarity, which is the singularity of Methuselah, because Methuselah, supposedly in the Bible, he lived 1,000 years. So we want humans who are able to live at least 1,000 years to begin with.
So, and, but explain to the viewers what is the aging escape velocity?
Yes.
How did you call it exactly?
Longevity escape velocity. Longevity escape velocity, or the Methuselarity, means that because life expectancy keeps on increasing continuously, average and also in healthy format. Today, in the advanced world, it is about 80 years. Average life expectancy. At the beginning of the 20th century, it was only 40 average life expectancy, and at the time of the Roman Empire, it was only 20. So I could be dead like over 3 times in the Roman Empire because I'm close to 60, but I'm not dead. And even better, I don't plan to die. And even better, I plan to be rejuvenated with these technologies by 2045. Anyway, longevity escape velocity means that for every year we survive, we gain an extra year of life expectancy.
Because it actually accelerates. I mean the progress in medicine, right?
Absolutely.
So our life expectancy gets longer and longer, and this accelerates, right?
Yes.
At some point, it will accelerate with the speed of 1 year per year, right?
That's right. So we estimate, well,
so with every year you will gain one more year or even more of our life, so to say, right?
Yes.
Additional life.
That is the concept of longevity escape velocity, adding over 1 year per every year you survive.
Yeah.
But the bad part is that we are still aging. So longevity escape velocity will let you live indefinitely but still aging, while these rejuvenation technologies are being fully developed. But if you make it to 2029, 2030, you will probably become immortal if you want, because you will have lived long enough to live forever, in the sense that you are gaining one more year per year that you survive. And then these rejuvenation technologies will be ready at the latest, and I say this at the latest because we think this will happen before the year 2045, but to be conservative, we need to give this date, which is what Ray Kurzweil does. Now, there are so many people realizing that this is true, that this is happening, that they are investing heavily. And that is why Jeff Bezos put another billionaires, $3 billion in Altos Labs. And the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia created a foundation which is called Evolution Foundation, also for rejuvenation. So this is happening everywhere, not just in the USA or Japan, even in Saudi Arabia. The Kingdom, it's a royal foundation that will invest billions of dollars on rejuvenation technology. But not only Saudi Arabia, also in the United Arab Emirates, there are many people interested in rejuvenation technologies, because this is no longer science fiction. We know aging can be reversed, and it is possible to be younger in the future.
Okay, so it's like incredible. You are saying generally in 7 to 8 years we will become immortal, right?
But it's still aging, yes.
Still aging.
And of course.
First of all, and second of all, you say now we have the inflection point, similar to what Bitcoin, let's say, had in 2014-15, when the venture capital started really heavily spending on blockchain technologies. The same we observe right now in this longevity and, let's say, immortality research, right, in projects.
Yes, in fact, I like to say that in 10 years, the biggest industry in the world will be the longevity industry, rejuvenation industry. So I don't know what you personally do, and I don't care, but you need to move into rejuvenation technologies. This will be the biggest thing in the world. And let me put it in a historical perspective. In the year 2000, the biggest companies in the planet were energy companies. It was Exxon, Shell, BP, etc., etc., etc. Energy companies. Now, the biggest companies are information technology companies. Amazon, Google, Facebook in China, Baidu, etc., etc. And now, the new industry growing is biotechnology, rejuvenation technologies. So much that Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple, he has said something incredible a couple of years ago or 3 years ago. He said that Apple will be remembered in the future for what they will do in health. So they haven't even done much, but they will be remembered. He thinks this will be the biggest thing that Apple has ever done to work on health and medicine. But it is, again, not just Apple. As I mentioned, Jeff Bezos from Amazon, or the Google guys, Sergey Brin and Larry Page. They also created, about 10 years ago, another company called Calico, California Life Company, that is doing incredible research on longevity. And Mark Zuckerberg, the co-founder of Facebook, he has announced that he will donate all his fortune, or 99% of his fortune, to cure all diseases, including aging. And when his first daughter was born, Max, Priscilla, his wife, and Mark Zuckerberg declared that their daughter would not die of aging, because by the time that she is maybe 30, we will have cured aging. All diseases, but also aging.
Yeah, I'm always saying, imagine how rich the companies got who invented a vaccine for just one disease, that is COVID, right? And they got crazy rich, so to say, and made tons of money. And now compared to that, if a company who brings to humanity immortality generally, I mean, how much money there is in this market? I mean, how much is everybody willing to pay for not aging and not dying. I think this is a good point to wrap up the interview. So the clue is this future is coming. We are 7-8 years away from longevity, escape velocity, meaning generally becoming immortal but still aging, and then another 15 years from staying young forever. And we have reached the inflection point where it is wise to invest in that technology, to get involved if you are in business or you want to go into business. This is one of the, if not the industry to get involved into. You, Jose, you said you commit yourself completely.
Completely, and not only that, I don't plan to die, and I said publicly. And why I don't plan to die? Because I think I should be able to make it to 2029 to 2030, and then wait until 2045 to be rejuvenated. So in the future, I actually plan to be much younger than today. And in the year 2045, I want to remember this time and how primitive we were today, that we let people age and we let people die. That will be barbaric in the future, in 2045.
So, don't die, hold the line, stay with us, and let's be immortal, let's be young forever together.
Yes, and let's see you in 2045. And in the meantime, read The Death of Death in Polish, in German, whatever language you want.
Absolutely. That's it from Dubai today. If you like that video, give us a thumb up. If not, of course, thumb down. Subscribe if you haven't. Share this video with your loved ones, with your friends. One day they will thank you for that. I wish you a fantastic day today. Let's do something extraordinary today.
Thank
Bye.
you.